How do? My name is Andrew Hancock and I am a VMware technical architect from Yorkshire in the United Kingdom. I have worked with VMware since their birth in 1998. So that's been a quarter of a century now. I've been working with the VMware product catalogue. Some of my close friends say if you cut Andy in half, it reads VMware like a stick of rock from Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I have now written over 130 articles and recorded over 30 hours of VMware vSphere 7 and 8 videos for Experts Exchange, and received 40 Expert Exchange awards over the last 11 years working with the Expert Exchange community. I am currently the overall #1 point earner in the Hall of Fame. I am honoured to have been accepted into the VMware vExpert program since 2011, and I'm currently a VMware vExpert Pro for the last 4 years.
Welcome back to another Hancock's VMware half hour. I must admit, it does seem to take me an awful long time now to set the lab up and get everything just right, so we can have a smooth 30 minutes to do these video pieces. Anyway, in today's video, we're going to look at upgrading our 8.0.2 or 8.0 U2D vCenter server in our lab to 8.03 because in the last few days, after just finishing up the previous videos that I've done in how to upgrade vCenter server to 8.0 to U2D via VAMI and via the reduced downtime upgrade version, 8.0.3 dropped on us. So I thought, okay, let's complete VAMI upgrades to 8.0.3 and the reduced upgrade version to 8.0.3 because I'm bound to get questions, and then the questions will become, have you got a video? So I thought, okay, let's basically do a couple more videos on upgrading to the latest version of vCenter server, get these edited, get these published, so we have a complete series of them. Okay, so I'm back at the vCenter server interface. I've already basically done a few of the prerequisites. The first thing I'm going to do, I've already done, is made sure that I've got a backup, and I've got a video of that previously, so I'll put that in the description. And you know, interestingly, really, the amount of data that's changed between our 8.0 GA backup and our 8.02 backup is 150 meg, and we've not really been doing an awful lot really in the lab. You know, these lab servers have not been left on for days and days and days, but anyway, 150 meg. So the backup's been completed. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to snapshot the virtual machine, the appliance, so that we can roll back just in case it all goes wrong. And I'm probably going to roll back as well because I want to do a VAMI upgrade as well. So let's go to our vCenter server in the root hierarchy. I've probably already clicked on the X button because we've normally got a blue banner across here that turns around and says that we've got updates available. But if we actually basically look in the summary here, you can see that it says that we've got updates available. The last file backup was at 9:35. These are all completely normal. If you've been watching these videos long enough, you will know that I turn around and talk about CPU exhaustion on vCenter. That's the vCenter server alarm that's going off, and these settle down after a while. Host memory usage as well. So let's basically click updates available, and I'm going to do some pre-checks. So I'm going to discard the previous, because you can't do a vCenter server pre-check and the interoperability check if you've already started a workflow. So I'm just going to discard that workflow. Yes. I'm going to be pre-check. I'm going to select my version, and the version is 8.03. So 25th of the 6th it came out, which seems a bit, yeah, I don't understand these dates that Broadcom are publishing, because I actually thought that it was the 25th of June. I thought it was late June that 8.03 dropped. But if you actually look in the Broadcom portal here for 8.03, it says June 12th, 2024. Just a quick tip, if you're using the reduced downtime version, you will need to download the full ISO, which is 10.8 gig, and mount it on a data store and insert that ISO into your vCenter server. So I'm going to say OK and just let that spin. Just as an aside, we have seen that when you start inserting the ISO into a vCenter server, which I must admit is something that we don't usually do, and we've only started to do it whilst we've been using the reduced downtime version. One of the things that we've actually started to see is where vCenter server becomes completely unavailable. The web interface basically does not respond. And when we actually basically go and have a little look at the direct with the host that's hosting vCenter server, occasionally it seems to get hooked up and it's answering a question about the lock on the ISO and whether or not to disconnect it. And when it answers that question, when it pops up to answer that question, for some strange reason, host access to the URL completely disappears. So just something for you, if you are doing the reduced downtime version and all of a sudden you find that your vCenter server URL just becomes completely unavailable, just actually log on direct to the host, the ESXi host that's hosting your vCenter server, and just see whether or not you've got this message that says that it's waiting for an answer. Because when it's waiting for that answer, for some strange reason, host access or the URL just seems to be completely unavailable. And the moment you answer that question, yes or no, it just comes back. It must be a bug. I can't believe that it's just something that I've seen here in the lab and at other client sites as well. Okay, so yes, it's telling me that the it was a warning. The file-based backup of VMware was performed 7 minutes ago. You can proceed with patching. And it's also telling me that files that cannot be used as Lifecycle Manager will not be copied from the source. These files include VM, guest, OS patch baselines, host upgrade baselines and files, and 6.5 and lower version baselines. Okay, fair enough. So now we're going to do a check product operability to continue. And to be honest, you really that works because it seems to come back with error messages as well. And about the product being unknown. So I'm not really sure. And again, this isn't just in the lab. I've seen this across lots of sites now. I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to do there. But anyway, so now we're going to go back to upgrade. The current plugin version is 8.02, and you may remember me talking about the plugin version in a previous video that we did about the reduced downtime upgrade version. The ISO file is 8.03. That's the one that we've downloaded from Broadcom. So I'm going to follow by next. Yes, I have a backup, followed by next. And you may remember me telling you that basically what this does is it deploys a new VMware vCenter server 8.03. And then basically it will copy the configuration from your 8.0 U2D to 8.03 and then powered it off. And I think we looked at, I think we saw about 10, 11 minutes worth of downtime, which is far quicker than doing a VAMI upgrade. So it kind of wants me to do an upgrade plugin. So this is probably going to upgrade the plugin, and this is all going to disappear. And we're going to have to repeat this. So I'm just going to say upgrade the plugin. Hopefully it's not going to take too long. If it does, I'll pause and speed this up. So rather than me, okay, so it's staging the process. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to disappear and I will, oh no, what's that? 67%. Okay, this seems to be quite quick. Validating user input. So it's going to ask me a question. Stopping services. Anyway, I'll disappear a minute. up in post. You may have noticed if you were watching that we had the plugin upgrade appear up here, and basically it said refresh browser. So the browser's all been refreshed, and it was really annoying. I was actually basically just getting a little bit OCD about all these double lines down here. So I was just actually expanding them. And when the browser refreshed, it didn't actually basically keep any of the layout, which was just rather annoying. Let's just do that now. Okay, so let's go back to pre-check. If we discard the previous, we don't need to discard this because it's now actually basically telling us that the current version is 8.03. So we can run the pre-check. While it's doing that, I'm going to have a Pepsi Max. Other soft drinks are available. Maybe one day they'll sponsor me, and that will be a saving on how much Pepsi Max that I actually basically drink. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll just have a slosh of espresso. It's been a terrible day here in the UK today. Another overcast, rainy, cold day, 1st of July, and it's been very, very for bees. Terrible. We're having a terrible season or year at the moment, really, to be honest with you. Okay, source pre-checks. How long is this going to take? Okay, whilst that's doing in the background, just a couple of tips I've noticed recently. Well, that's actually finished. I had a few issues earlier downloading the actual ISO for vCenter server. I don't know why. The Broadcom site does seem to be a little bit all over the place at the moment. You may notice, and I can't actually see any, and probably maybe in a wrong panel, but you now have to have an entitlement to download software. And there's a little, I can only show a badge or a medal or a certificate next to various products, which basically tells you that you have an entitlement. And if you actually basically try to download the application or the product, it'll actually come down and turn around and say that you're not entitled. And it was a bit odd because there was a VMware vCenter server product option that we clicked. We drove all the way down to the version that we wanted, 8.03, and it actually turned around and told us that we weren't entitled. So we then browsed around the products again, and we came across a product called VMware vCenter vSphere Enterprise Plus. So we clicked that, and that showed us all the VMware vCenter vSphere Enterprise products, and in there was VMware vCenter Server, which took us here, which then actually allowed us to download it as an entitlement. So I don't really understand what's actually going on the Broadcom site at the moment. I must admit, I'm not really a fan at the moment. 26 years. Hopefully I'd have long retired by then. But give me 26 years and I might maybe get used to the Broadcom site. Sorry about that. Just not to take. But at the moment, I'm not a fan of it at all. It just seems to be a little bit all over the place, really, in what we were used to. Anyway, so, okay, so I'm just going to basically click Next. Configure target appliance. We're going to click Accept. Okay. Yeah, we'll join the customer experience. So we're going to deploy the same location as the source, followed by Next. And this is just really deploying a standard VMware vCenter server again. So, yeah, the same configuration. Okay, so VMware, so I'm going to call this one VMware vCenter Server 8.0.3. Temporary password. by next. And we should actually basically start to see that deploy. Going to give it a temporary IP address of, before I think I use 182.139. Default gateway, DNS names. But next, don't need an FQDN. Oh, I know what. I'll put, just for shits and giggles, I'll put hollybobs in there. The only reason was I used the term hollybobs on a Discord session the other day, and one of my Canadian friends, hi Phil, he came back and turned around and hollybobs. Sorry, it's a silly word, and I must admit, hi to Paul and hi to Sally. You won't be watching, but it's a word that a couple of friends of mine used to describe. I think you call it vacation, holidays. And at the moment, on this week, I've taken a week off, hollybobs, vacation, really to work the bees. That's working out well, isn't it? Anyway, so not quite sure if the FQDN is really going to work. If it completely fails, because it's not currently in DNS, I'll just bang that in there. So I'm going to click finish. And I'm going to click next. And you just click next, just a bit quick there. And we should actually, okay, so we have got our automated switch over. Let's just go with the manual for the time being. So let's just basically say start upgrade. And we should actually basically start to see a deployment of a new virtual machine in the inventory there shortly. And what I'll do, I'll bob off and we'll speed this up in post. And I must admit, I have got a few videos that I'm going to be spending some time on tomorrow, editing and putting together, and then hitting the button to publish, because there's quite a few now that I need to get out to you, so you can have a little look. So yeah, so as I was saying about the Broadcom site, just be patient. You know, I know that there have been a number of people that have been commenting at present about issues that they found. I think one of them was with VMware Workstation Pro, that they were finding that the update button in the product wasn't working at the moment. I think previously I may have mentioned that when we were in the middle of doing, okay, so this is rather interesting. We've got lots of, okay, there we go. Look, so it did, yeah, okay. I did wonder, by putting in that target appliance FQDN, that it was going to fail because it couldn't resolve it. So I should actually basically practice what I preach. And if you're going to use DNS names, make sure that you can resolve them. So when it says optional, what it really means is optional and it can resolve it. So if we hopefully just go back again, and hopefully it will have remembered all the details, because he did say edit, and I can just remove the hollybobs FQDN reference. No, it's not going to remember them. VMware vCenter server 8.0.3. Bad, as they say. That, because that's the thing there that caused the problem. So let's just say next. Yeah, so FQDN optional. If you put an FQDN in there, which is not really going to be used in production, but if you put an FQDN in there, make sure that you can resolve it before you completely upgrade, I think is the... So let's do start upgrade again. And hopefully it'll carry on. Anyway, as I was saying, VMware Workstation, the update button at the moment seems to have been broken, but as you may have noticed, when we previously did these upgrades, I was struggling with it downloading the plugin from the GA version of vCenter Server. I thought that something was happening on the internet on the back end at VMware, at Broadcom, give it 24 hours and started again, and all was well. And I couldn't actually basically get upgrade VAMI lists either. They were just not responding, and I was looking at the logs via SSH, and I could see that it was actually basically failing to grab stuff from the interweb. So I think the answer really at the moment is just be patient, folks. And over time, hopefully, things will settle down, and these little things that really annoy us at the moment will get fixed over time. Okay, so it's downloaded the OVA. So I tell you what, I'll bob off, and I'll speed all this up in post, and I'll come back when we're ready to do the switchover. So I'll come back shortly. Okay, so we're back. That took about an hour, which seemed very slow for the deployment of vCenter server, to be honest with you. But it could be that it's deploying it to the same data store, an NFS data store on the Synology NAS, which also has VMware vCenter Server 8.0 U2D currently running, and that's on the snapshot. So that data store might possibly be slower than I would normally have expected. Like it turns around and says last edit at there 10:30, and we're about 10 o'clock, and we're about 52 minutes. So yeah, we're about an hour that it's taken to deploy it. But anyway, okay, so that isn't going to cause you a downtime because the pre-upgrade, if you like, can be done. The state can be staged. This is where you're going to expect the downtime. So, like we did before, get my stopwatch on. And look at that, look. The stopwatch is still running from when I set it before, so it's 202 hours. I don't think we need that anymore. Let's just reset. Okay, so I'm going to click Start. I'm going to say Switch Over. So now the switchover is in progress, and I think before we saw that this took about 10 or 11 minutes. So I'll be back in 10 or 11 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Just as I was settling down to listen to some music, I find that it finishes. Okay, so that took 15 minutes. So I'm not quite sure whether or not the data store is getting slower or whether or not that these upgrades are just taking longer. Okay, well, it does actually basically turn around and tell us that the vCenter server upgrade is now upgraded. But what we found before, in the last time that we actually did the reduced downtime upgrade version, although the switchover is completed, it's now starting up all the services again. So when we click Open vSphere Client, the last time we did this, we got no healthy upstream or web client was initializing because all the services are now starting up. So I'm a little bit suspicious if this is just going to log in and all is well. Maybe this is the much improved reduced downtime upgrade version. Okay, so let's click stop. Okay, so about 17 minutes. So if we stage our upgrade and then we do the switch over, then we're looking at about 17 minutes, 17 minutes worth of downtime, which is considerably shorter than if you go the VAMI route. And we've got a lovely green banner now across the top telling us that vCenter server vCenter 8A has been successfully updated to 8.0.3. So we've got bars telling us we've got updates. We've got yellow, orange bars telling us that licenses are expired. And we've now got a green bar telling us that our update has been successful. So if we just actually basically have a look up here, summary, and in fact, actually the vCenter details have all changed order as well, because or they've moved the spacing because we've now got a last updated at 10:42, last file back up at 9:35. We've got some syncing updates, and again, you know, the all the spacings have been forgotten about here again. Okay, so in summary, we've updated our vCenter server from 8.0 U2D to 8.0.3, and as you can see here, we've got a new vCenter server appliance. And this is the older one here, which is now being powered off. So come back for the next video when we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to use VAMI to upgrade to 8.03 from 8.0 U2D in the old-fashioned way, and we'll do we'll time it as well. But I think we'll see that the VAMI upgrade is going to take much longer. Anyway, so thanks very much for watching this video. Take care, and good night and goodbye.